wonderful to be with you, Secretary Becerra. And I want to thank you for this budget that puts the American family first and is concerned about their health and their security. And it is a great piece of work. Specifically, I want to ask you about childcare. We know we're not going to have an economic recovery. We're certainly not going to have one that includes women unless we make investments in childcare. And I'm grateful for this administration's help with the American Rescue Plan, the $40 billion we were able to secure to stabilize childcare. And we know we have to go further, and this budget does that. But I specifically want to ask you about the workforce issues. Childcare providers are overwhelmingly women and women of color. They make an average of $12 an hour caring for our children, leaving too many of them in a position they can't care for their own, and they've lost 1 out of 9 jobs in this sector. So specifically, how is this budget investing in that workforce? Are there other things Congress can do to help prioritize? And in addition, just yesterday, I was with a healthcare leader from my district who was telling me about how linked in his hospital the nursing shortage and a shortage of childcare is. And I specifically want to know if the $324 million for the health workforce programs address the caregiving needs of our healthcare professionals.
Well, Congresswoman, first here, I have to thank those of you who supported the American Rescue Plan because it made available to us billions of dollars to help a lot of those child care workforce participants, but also the families. We know that if we are able to get the child care proposals in the Build Back Better agenda, that we would have the ability to actually meaningfully tackle this, not just try to put a Band-Aid over it. It is tremendously important for the tens of millions of families who need child care. We saw women lose jobs in numbers never seen before because of COVID and the need to be home to care for kids, not being able to have a child go to school. And so I don't think there's any question that we have to make major investments in child care, Head Start. The proposals that have been put forward would help us go there. The president's budget makes additional investments into child care, but to really take this where we've got to go to the next plateau. We hope that Congress is able to get across the finish line the child care proposal that is in the president's Build Back Better agenda.
Thank you. Next, I am also grateful for your leadership in releasing through the ARP and the F-21 omnibus LIHEAP increases, a lifeline for families in Massachusetts and across this country. But we know that due to Putin's war, the pandemic, corporate greed, prices are still going to continue to soar and be out of reach for way too many families. There is an increase of $175 million, and I just want to know how you're preparing for increased volatility in this line item, and are you working with Department of Energy to anticipate to the best you can?
We're hoping to work not just with the Department of Energy, but with the Department of Education, with the Housing and Urban Development Department, so that we can coordinate our activities so that if there is a family in need, it might be energy, help with energy bills. It might be help with staying housed and not lose your home. Whatever it is, we're going to try to make sure that we're working together to make sure that we're tackling this. No doubt that the dollars that you provided previously and the dollars the President's requesting for LIHEAP will take us a ways. And the more we're able to see success in this effort to keep the leadership in Russia from this crazy war in Ukraine will help us. But we're going to meet every need we can with the dollars that you've given us, because we know it could be the difference between life and death for someone who needs that heat or someone who has to stay away from the horrid temperatures in the summer.
And briefly, at the end of my time here, we know that overdose deaths have increased by 30%, and that in not the area we want equality. Now, Black deaths of opioid overdose, due to opioid overdose, are exceeding those of white people. And so I just am urging, there is a program that we helped create and I led on that helps link student loan repayment to encourage and retain people in substance use providers. You've increased that account by $4 million. We are very grateful to your attention to this program. But we also know that only 8% of those 3,000 applicants to this STAR LRP program last year were able to be funded. So we hope we can continue to work with you to meet this need so we can get people the treatment they need and deserve and reduce these terrible rates of deaths and overdose.
We want to give you wind underneath those wings to make that happen, because getting those professionals out there is absolutely important.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Madam Chairwoman.
Mr. Molinar.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, Mr.